And now, Julia's new soap opera, Amor de Manuela.
Julio.
Manuela.
¿Por qué, Julio?
Manuela.
Julio.
Manuela.
¿A quién?
Manuela, no fui yo. Me está equivocando con otro tipo. Yo estaba en mi casa.
¿Dónde?
En mi casa. Yo no entiendo por qué tú...
¿Pero por qué? ¿Por qué?
Te lo estoy explicando. Manuela, atiende, mira.
¿Pero dónde?
Pero, wait a minute. Shut the fuck up. I mean, let me talk. I know we're doing... You're this hot actress, and I like doing the show, but you gotta let me say my lines, yo. What the fuck, yo? Manuela.
¿Por
No
qué?
fui yo te amo, Manuela, te amo.
You're listening to the Double D's podcast.
I'm Dom.
I'm D-Respect.
He's got a great set of tits.
I get so angry thinking about this kid.
Because that's what most people are bitching about.
In New York, you know what I mean? We like to eat out here. You know?
You gotta stop looking at interacting with people online as a cheap date. My father used to drink.
Get the fuck away from me. Hold on.
I come a lot, by the way.
You're doing the rap stuff.
If you didn't say it, somebody in the comment section would have said it.
It's like how you feel when you're having a paranoid high.
That's a dynamic connection right there. You're listening to Double D's.
I'm Dom.
I'm D-Respect. Folks, we want to ask something of you at the beginning, at the top of this podcast, this very wonderful Double D's installment. And we want to ask, is it possible? I'm just like a bum, and I'm just like, you know, just squeezing my hands like I'm fucking Juno Diaz. I'm just like, is it possible that we can get 80 likes on this video? Let's start doing like challenges. You guys probably give us somewhere around maybe 35 to 40 something. 80 is not too much to ask for. So let's see if we can get to 80 likes. It would help the video out so very, very much. So fucking do it. Do it.
Did you... I know the answer to this already, but you didn't cop Oscar Wilde yet, did you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't get the book from Juno Diaz that I told you to fucking get, did you?
No, I didn't. I've just seen numerous Juno Diaz lectures. Did you understand what I was referencing to when I said that? If you watch a lot of Juno Diaz... Guys, well, maybe Dom could explain who Juno Diaz is better than I can because he's read his books. I've just seen a lot of lectures.
You know as much about him as I do, sir.
Okay,
but
so,
listen, no, go ahead.
Okay, so Juno Diaz is a Dominican author who normally writes about what? I mean,
he writes about the
Dominican diaspora.
Yeah,
basically. So it's very relatable stuff because he's an American, but also he's of the Dominican culture. So there is the duality of your two things. It's like it's a sense of identity that that certain Caribbean people can relate to it. I mean, Asian people can, Jamaican people can relate to it. Anybody who is Americanized and comes from immigrant backgrounds, you can relate to it. It's not just specific to the Dominican experience. But when Juno Diaz speaks, he does this sort of thing where he's like squeezing his hands.
Yeah.
He's like constantly squeezing his hands. It's really odd. I'm like watching it all the time. I'm like,
I kind of like it.
I don't know. It's an interesting tick that he has. Maybe it helps him communicate better. I don't know.
Do you have any? I think we've talked about ticks before.
No, I don't have any ticks, man. I just fucking go, bro.
You're very energetic. Like you don't sit still. Like you're moving. You're always moving.
You mean when we've recorded together?
Yeah, no, when I'm talking to you in person.
Oh, really?
Like, you move a lot.
Ah, dude, I don't... Well,
You're jittery.
I'm a mover, rapper. What do you want me to tell you? I'm a star boy, and I can't be contained because I am the container. You know who said that?
Tupac.
Jim Carrey said that. Jim Carrey, look, man. I've told you guys know this about me. I'm very big on, stuff that most people would consider very campy. I guess if that's the right word, sort of corny, sort of inspirational stuff. Now, Jim Carrey has a speech that he gave at, what is it, Mammoth University? I'm not sure.
Monmouth? Is it
Monmouth? Is that how it is? He gave this speech about 3 years ago, and it was very interesting to say the least. It was a very different approach from most other commencement addresses.
I remember this one, yeah.
Yeah, and it was Jim Carrey basically sharing very deep concepts with with the audience, addressing the human ego, addressing desires and success and all this stuff. And, he eventually got to this very abstract point when he was sort of describing, I realized that I couldn't be bigger than myself because I am bigger than myself. I'm not going to go into the details of, of any of that stuff. But at one point he said, I cannot be contained because I am the container.
That's a little too abstract for me.
But you understand it. You get it, right?
Not really. What is he, like some soup or something? Am I talking? That's right, folks.
Did you just say soup?
It's me,
what did
Dom,
you just say?
Dom Rabin, Dom Sketchcast. By the way, I have my own channel.
Did you like Did you like the point where when he showed us his painting?
Oh boy,
it's like a huge vagina in the center.
I'm not a fan of his paintings.
Okay,
I think they're very high school, which is understandable, by the way, because he is an actor and a writer. What was that?
He's moonlighting.
Exactly. So you expect, like, when Bush does paintings, they are so shitty, by the way. I urge you, I implore you, go check out Bush's paintings.
42?
What do you mean?
Junior.
Yeah.
Okay.
His paintings
this guy doesn't understand presidential terms. He doesn't understand it by the numbers.
He paints world leaders and his dog or whatever, and just really... just the most boring shit, and I'm like, I get you, man. Like, I get you're just basic. You're just a basic. You're not an artist, and it's cool seeing someone who isn't that trying to be that thing. It's like if I saw Michael Jordan trying to do what I do, it's like you get a little bit of pride because you're like, oh yeah, that's right. You can't fucking do this on your best day, dog.
Okay.
Get the fuck out of here.
I see.
Get the fuck out, Michael Jordan.
Why does everybody? He drew Putin.
Yeah, it sucks so bad.
Everybody looks like they've just had like a bucket of chicken. Like everybody's face looks like it's filled with sodium.
Oh yeah.
Look at his father. He's got the Dalai Lama here.
Because you know what happened is like the whoever sort of taught him how to paint were just like, Mr. President, you're doing a great job. This is great what you're doing. It's expression, blah blah blah. Man, I'd love to get into that guy's head. It's gotta be just. I got this impression.
He's kind of fallen into obscurity.
Right, but he wanted that. I always got the impression.
He had to.
I got the impression from Bush that he was sort of like, afterwards, like, just like shaking it off. God fucking damn it. Oh, just get it all away from me. I'm done. I'm leaving. I feel like Obama might be the same way, dude. I think that shit does something to you. And like, let's tie this back into the Jim Carrey. Like, I don't know if this was the speech when he said this, but like the most interesting thing he said was that he was very meta, right? Mm-hmm. Where he was like, "Oh, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not just a guy.
No, that was at the Golden Globes.
Okay, so that was the speech I was thinking of. Sorry, I didn't think I didn't.
You're stupid. You're an idiot. Go ahead.
Yes. So in that one, he said some shit about like. Basically shitting on the institution and the concept of trying to get famous in itself. He was like, in a very tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic way of sort of saying like, wow, I'm so great, but still it doesn't mean anything. Because he's like, yeah, and I have these awards and I wake up and it's like all these accolades and this attention, it should be enough, right? Because then I would be enough. Then it would be enough for me to exist.
Right. Then I would be, right. That would validate my existence if I won a third Golden Globe.
And that's the scary thing to me. And
all the actors are like smiling and everything, but I guess they could.
It's like motherfucker,
they could look at it like Jamie Foxx was there too. I mean, the interesting thing about it being Jamie Foxx was that's obviously where Jim Carrey got his start, was at In Living Color, with the Wayans brothers and Jamie Foxx. Yeah. That all started there, so he's got a long lasting relationship with Jamie Foxx. So but. I liked that speech. I can dig it. I can understand why somebody would take that as maybe condescending.
Yeah.
But it's, you can't deny that it's true. you can't deny that it's, because think about it. When he's being introduced, it's sort of just like masturbation. It's like the announcer's jerking him off. 2-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey. Yeah. Almost like saying, like he's this great thing. It's just not Jim Carrey. It's just like, no, when I go to sleep at night, I don't just dream like any other person. I dream on I dream as 2-time Golden Globe winner. I'm special. I'm above you guys because I'm 2-time Golden Globe. You know, Jim is why are we talking about Jim Carrey? It's so weird.
He's very spiritual.
No, he is very spiritual, very. He is, I think he's really gotten a hold of the idea of accomplishment, being at the height of accomplishment, but knowing what it takes away from you.
Yeah.
You know, what it can possibly take away from if you don't have any perspective on yourself. If you have perspective on yourself, you can move forward amicably, but just with the realization of knowing this isn't going to solve anything. This isn't going to solve. This is going to give you what you want, but it's not going to fulfill you ultimately because you're simply always going to. I like the idea of a person is infinite in the sense of that they're always going to have another desire. If you accomplish something and you accomplish something after that, it's never going to end. It's never going to stop. You're never going to get to this point where you're, 50 years old and you're like, I'm at the top of this mountain. What's next? That's not the case because you obviously have people who are breaking barriers every day and you wonder what keeps them going? What keeps them going? It's because it's their desire. Once they get done with one thing, they've already accrued so much momentum towards something else. But by the time that one thing is accomplished, they're already moving on to something else. And that's not to say that they don't enjoy it or they don't appreciate it. It's just to say it's done and now they're moving on to something else so that it never ends. It never ends. So when I say that you'll never fulfill yourself, it's not meant in a negative way. It's meant to say it's in the greatest possible way because you're always going to have another desire after that one. After you become 2-time Golden Globe, you want to be 3, you want to be 4. Just know that you're going to want to be more and it's never going to end.
There's something.
I just Jim carried the shit out of you right there. I apologize.
I think there's something.
I am the container.
Comforting about that in a way to know that you're. Sorry guys, if you hear like clicking in the background, it's these cats trying to break into this place. But there's something kind of comforting about that to know that everyone's just trying to get that shit that like they're never gonna get it. Even if you're like Leonardo DiCaprio, there's a bunch of stuff you want that you're never gonna get. It's also depressing if you look at it from a certain angle. It's like, oh wow, like this thing that I've tried to get all my life. It's like whatever it is you're seeking, even if it's attention, approval of your family members, whatever it is, it's never. I think sometimes you'll touch it. I think there's moments where you can like taste a little bit of that thing you think that you
when
want,
when you've fully manifested an accomplishment. That's when you can touch it, but it's temporary.
Right, still, even if it's something you worked on for like 20 years or some shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's temporary, so I think you can taste it, but then you just move on to something else. And you're right, because I mean, so do you believe that there is a sort of a blinding? Oh shit! They're the sirens. I wonder if Quack's around here.
He's actually
hiding. He's hiding in my closet. Dude, Quack fucking walked in here fucking last night at about like 11 p.m. I was in the living room here. He walks into the bedroom and I'm like, "Where are you going?" He was like, "Don't worry about it." I walked back in. I looked at my bed. He wasn't. Sometimes Quack comes here and he like crashes.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, but he wasn't in bed. So I just assume he's still in the closet, hiding.
Does he ever bring back duck bitches? Like, who does he fuck?
Quack has sex with like middle-aged like Asian women.
Okay,
like the sort of women you would find in like massage parlors. I think that's what he gets.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Quack.
Oh, Quack's
all
a
right,
piece of
what
shit.
you're gonna make a point.
So do you? Or no, I was gonna ask you. So do you believe that every one of without looking at it in your, through your own lens and from your own perspective, do you believe that human beings, when they want to accomplish things, it's because there is a backdrop? You want attention. there is you want love. There is you want acceptance, but it's masked within no, I want to be the CEO of Apple. I want to be that. Is there always a backdrop of some emotion that just wasn't nurtured as a child? And it's never just I want to do that. It's no, there's always something, there's a needle inside your mind that you'll never reach.
Personally, I think so.
I told you not to turn this personal.
What? Like, I think that everyone, even if you had a really good childhood when people like showered you with praise and all that stuff, well, then maybe you're trying to live up to the expectations, right? Mm-hmm. Either people have no expectations of you, and you're doing the thing where a lot of rappers do, where they're like, no one fucking believed in me except my mother, and so fuck everybody, and the stay away from they type shit. You think the guy, like, stay away from they, I don't think that comes from someone who had a really healthy relationship with their family and everyone believed in them.
Right. That's a very good point.
You know what I'm saying? Stay away from they. Where the fuck
there
does
were
that
probably a lot of like family members. Like Khaled probably grew up in a household where his family was probably fine, but there was a lot
Middle Eastern immigrants.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of like aunts and uncles that would like talk a lot of shit about the family, and they
Khaled
became
is DJ now. Khaled is DJ.
He's not doing anything with his life.
Yeah. And he's just probably sitting there like, fuck you guys. I'm working at Red Lobster now. But someday I'm going to be holding a giant golden thumb on New Year's Eve. And you guys will know that I'm the best.
And he did. You're right, though. So, that's interesting.
I do think that it's like either you're trying to live up to people's expectations. Gary Vee says this. Even though he's not necessarily deficient in his childhood and all that stuff. I think he had issues with his dad that he talked about in terms of him not believing in him. But with his mom, he was always like, "Oh yeah, I'm trying to live up to what she gave me, how much she did for me, that type of shit." I think every immigrant kid probably has that to some extent. Like, I don't know if you have that too. It's like your family came from a way shittier place to give you something that was better. Whether or not they intended on it, like that's what happened. And it's like you have these pressures, internal, external, all that stuff. And I think regardless of what you, no one is sort of exempt from that. I think your emotions are mixed in with your motivations and all that stuff. Some days, I think that's what makes people get out of bed. You know, like just that thought that it's like I owe people this, or no one thought I would be doing this, so it's my job to prove them wrong.
Okay, so let me relate this to the Avengers. Okay, so when not the Avengers, I'm sorry, to Captain America, Civil War. So when you have that scene where Tony Stark, he comes to Spider-Man's house. And he's in the room. He's telling him, "Why do you get out of bed why do you get out of the twin bed in the morning?" And Spider-Man's answer is basically a variation of "With great power comes great responsibility." That's basically what it is when he says, "What is it? If you can do good and bad things happen, then it's your fault."
Oh,
you know, that's basically, you know,
that's such a simple fucking way of looking at life. Why did I shit on him immediately?
I mean, he's a kid. I mean, the way he articulated it kind of aligns with his. Well, I mean, he's supposed to be a genius too. You figured he could say that in a much more eloquent way.
If you could do good, you know what I'm saying? You do good stuff. Yeah. Thanks, Tony Stark. Thanks for being here.
Fucking 14 years old. He sounds like he's 50.
Yeah, Tony. Thanks for coming by. You know.
By the way, that Underwater Eddie character came back to the store.
Oh, dude, I love it.
He came back to the store.
What did he say?
You know, he actually works for a sanitation company, and
of course he does.
Of course, he's a city. I'm a city worker, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
So he comes back with his card because apparently, and this was last week. You know, it was last year basically. So he comes and he tells me he's like, hey, you know what? Let's try something here. I'm gonna type to Dom what he said, and Dom's gonna read it in Eddie's voice.
All right. Let's see here, okay.
Hey, your sanitation service is up right now. The city isn't going to pick it up anymore. Uh, yeah, gotta tell you some other bad news. I'm a private contractor. Here's my card. Go ahead and take my card here. Give me a call, okay? All right.
There you go. I don't type very fast, so that's why I'm
Yeah, I had to keep filling it. I was like, motherfucker, type faster.
Yeah, so basically he comes by, he's like, the city's not going to pick up your garbage anymore. But what he thought was that our garbage was picked up by the city. It's not. Our garbage is picked up by another private company. So it doesn't matter to us. So he came by and he gave me his card, and then he came and bought some meal replacement shakes that clearly aren't going to work. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'll keep you updated on his appearances if he ever does anything interesting.
Please do. You can get a picture of him. Don't send it to everyone. Obviously,
man,
I got
I'd
it.
love to get a picture of him.
Yeah,
that would
He has a
I'll
fishbowl
try.
on his
I'll
head.
try. Yeah, he looks like a capital B. It's really interesting.
What?
Just
By
you.
the way, we were talking about accolades and stuff like that. Do you know Diaz won a Nobel Prize for literature? I believe.
When?
No. Was it Nobel? Fuck. It was.
It's
Oscar
a Pulitzer,
Wilde.
wasn't it?
Pulitzer. Yeah. There you go. Pulitzer Prize for Oscar Wilde, and that's when he really started exploding.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So I mean, to break through in this world, you gotta you can't just be for the immigrant kids. It's like everyone else has to respect you too. I'm talking about like mainstream white audiences, whatever. These institutions have to also give you the knight tap on the shoulder with the sword, and then bang, you're in there. Not to say his writing isn't good. His writing's very good.
Yeah.
I love hearing him talk about identity and all that shit too. It's pretty interesting.
You like hearing him talk about nerd stuff too.
I do. He interviewed Neil Gaiman for an hour just talking about Sandman shit, which I did as well. Yes.
Who the fuck is Neil Gaiman? All right.
I name drop so fucking hard when I get the chance. I just blah, Neil, blah, right there in her face.
Hey, I just want to make an announcement. And please don't interrupt me. I just told you, don't interrupt me. Okay, so I've got a class action suit against Daddy Yankee.
Daddy Yankee.
You remember that was the guy that wrote the Gasolina, Dale la Gasolina. In actuality, I was the originator of it. I wrote the song originally. I wrote it back in 1998, I think.
Okay, so you wrote the song. What was your inspiration for the song then?
I was at a gas station. I think I saw you earlier that day, and you didn't want to give me the scale. So I was at the gas station, and some girl was told the gas station guy. She said, "Hey, ahí, tú, dame la gasolina, give it to me." And she was so enthusiastic, and I was like, "Oh my God, man!" All of a sudden, inspiration was flowing through me, and I went home that day, and I wrote it, man. And
all right, so that's enough. So if you're such a great artist and you wrote this song that made Daddy Yankee millions, why were you unable to replicate that? Why did you never write another song? Or are you saying that you have ghostwritten for other songs before too, and we just don't know it?
Well, I'm sure there have been people in history that have strokes of brilliance, and they just never come back. I am sort of like that William Forrester character that Sean Connery played in that movie. You remember that, right? He wrote this great book, but he never wrote another.
All right, that's enough. Beat it. I've had enough. Damn, Julio's fucking... Why did he think that...
Did you ever see that movie, by the way? The one that Julio mentioned?
You're the bad now, dog.
There you go. Yeah. He wrote this...
No, that's all I know. I didn't watch the movie.
Wrote this great book, and he never... He sounded just like Sean.
No, I didn't, dude. I wasn't even trying.
Do it again.
You're the man now, dog. Yes. Hit those... Punch those keys, for fuck's sake. Yes. Good shit, Will Smith. Yes. I don't understand the plot of this fucking movie, but go ahead. What's the movie about?
So the movie's about obviously it's about Sean Connery, who wrote this brilliant book that's revered as like one of the best pieces of American literature.
It's about pussy.
Like Scottish.
Here's how you fuck. How to fuck in 20 ways.
And he befriends a young black honor student who goes to some well-to-do private school, and but the only catch is he'll teach him how to write. He'll sort of mentor him, but he can't tell anyone that he knows Sean Connery. Which after a while, sort of the conflict starts to build. That the kid sort of looks at Sean Connery like he's a bit of a coward. He's like, you're hiding away, like you've given up on life, and it's this whole they find that they relate to each other much more than they thought they did, and one of those annoying things. Just an amazing scene in the movie that I always remember, but I won't bring up now. But anyway,
why did he never?
I don't know. I don't know why he was a recluse like that. I don't know.
I don't respect that shit, man. I don't respect people who have ideas and they just don't put it out. Like, or the people who are like, yeah, okay, no, I'm not. If someone draws just for themselves or they write just for themselves and they know that, that's fine. Intent is the thing for me. If you intend on people to find out about your shit and you're not putting it out there, that's what I don't respect.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
I guess he didn't have that intent.
Oh, yeah, then that's fine. All right.
Get off my fucking back, dog. Yeah, see, that's a bad one.
Ooh,
I am all for two with these. Oh God! All right, I'd like to take another shot at the very next impersonation, and I'm gonna actually ask if you've kept up with this recent story, but I'm gonna try to do with this impersonation that I tried last week. Okay. Okay.
Jesus.
Okay, Dominic Rabrun. Have you been keeping up with the drama between the Soulja Boy and this is Conor McGregor, by the way, Conor fucking Gregor. Have you been keeping up with the Soulja Boy and the Chris Brown?
Vaguely.
Excuse me?
Vaguely. Your impression just made me not want to not talk ever again. Just beat it. I became a monk, a silent monk, just from listening to your shit.
Okay.
Explain it in just really simple terms. I know it's a little complicated.
It's just look, I don't know the details of it, which is sort of the reason why I've stepped away from the topic. Basically, what you have is just Soulja Boy on drugs, and he sent a couple shots towards people via social media, and now recently it's Chris Brown, and of course, like a week ago it was Soulja Boy and his whole his war story about people storming into his house and shooting up his mansion, and then he shot those people or whatever the fuck. But there's two stories. There's the people that were allegedly in Soulja Boy's house said that it wasn't a forced entry. Are you sleeping?
No.
Okay, because you should be. It wasn't a forced entry. They came into Soulja Boy's house. They were having some disagreement about a negotiation. One of the guys slapped Soulja Boy. Then that's when Soulja Boy pulled out his gun and started shooting. Whatever. Right. So, I haven't talked about this because I just have very as I imagine that you do, I have very ill feelings towards this level of conflict between entertainers. Yeah. So now this whole thing with Chris Brown, I don't know if it's going to happen, but there's like a boxing match that's supposed to be set up between Chris Brown and Soulja Boy. And now that they've set that up, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is like trying to back Soulja Boy, and 50 Cent is trying to back Chris Brown. So it's like, what am I watching?
He loves beef, bro.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what I'll say about 50 is that 50 does partake in this sort of stuff, but I always felt that at least over the past 10 years, 50's done it with a hint of troll.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's trolled, so it's a bit theater when 50 does it, So if you don't realize that this can be damaging, and I'm not talking about damaging for these guys, they're entertainers. They're just being stupid. This guy's on drugs. Chris Brown probably needs attention. I don't know what it is. But if you don't know how damaging this is to the people that are watching it, then you're clueless.
But we need for our days to be filled with something, man. Like when I should be working, I will do shit like I'll hit Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, Gmail, and then do the cycle again, and just look through my Google News, and it's just, you just want something to fill in that empty space in your mind where if you're quiet, if you're really quiet and you sat down and you turned your phone off and you did nothing, it's just, even if you, okay, I'll accept reading a book too. Reading a book is something like, okay, you're quiet, you're just with yourself, experiencing something that's very, it's like, if you're not doing that, it's just you're trying to pump your head full of all this sort of stuff to ignore the fact that you're just this flesh and blood vehicle just sitting around. People want to be entertained constantly, even if it's like, I don't know, shitty Kardashian stuff that's really like of no consequence, because you need something happening. Something's got to be buzzing or going around in your head.
See, but there's no danger. But there's no danger to consuming Kardashians. There's no danger to that. I wouldn't call it danger. It's harmful in the sense that you'll lose brain cells, during the act of it. But it's not harmful. It's not the same. It's not the same as a 15-year-old kid, 15-year-old inner city kid who really has nothing to do. And this is the sort of stuff that he takes in, and there's no way of controlling this. But when this is pretty much what we serve up to people, it begins to be damaging for that reason. It begins to be damaging because of the country that we live in, and the sort of sometimes the responsibility that entertainers, black entertainers have to avoid these sort of things, because you know how fragile the whole system is. You know how important it is to at least give people just a remnant of positivity more often than not. And if you continue to feed in all this negativity, you're not helping, you're adding to the problem, to this disease that we all seem to be struck with. And I'm speaking in very vague terms. I get that.
I think we know what you're.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's nothing that it's the same thing when you saw Chief Keef for the same time. For the first time when you saw Chief Keef, you saw him in that Shit I Don't Like video, and you saw him in a room. It was kind of fucking gay in the first place. I mean, it was him and like 20 other shirtless dudes, in dreadlocks, and they looked like every kid that you saw coming out of Chicago that, went out in a blaze. On
a fucking stretcher with bullet holes.
Exactly. That you saw on the news and shit like that, gang arrests and all that. That's what they look like. Yeah. So when you see shit like this, and even worse, if it's coming from somebody like 50, somebody like Floyd Mayweather. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is somebody who, look, if he uses his money in certain ways it's helpful to the community, which I'm guessing he does. But for him, but for him, what is it? What is $50,000 to the Boys and Girls Club? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything for him. More importantly, what would be more important for these people is to speak about how shit like this is stupid. For 50 to get on camera and to say, listen, I like to joke around, I like to have fun, but once you start posing on camera with guns, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, do you know the feds are watching you? Like, this is all documented.
Yeah,
you're incriminating yourself. Yeah, it's a Bobby Shmurda. It's like you're incriminating yourself, you idiot. No, instead, what he decides to do is he decides to add fire to the fire and say, you know what? I'm gonna train him, and you get your gun. You just say you should say. He told Soulja Boy that he should stop apologizing. Again, I'm not commenting on how he chooses to address Soulja Boy and Chris Brown. I'm commenting on the fact that 50 knows that this is fucking coonery, but he's feeding into it, knowing that the kids aren't gonna look at 50 like he's joking. Yeah. They think most of them would probably think he's serious. Oh shit, it's about to go down. They gonna fight. It's gonna make a kid much more likely to do some dumb shit at his local high school and go in and fucking fight somebody. Nigga, let's have a boxing match, nigga. Let's do this. It's just so
what do you think happens if all of these rappers collectively decide to, in some weird twist of events, if they all decided to just bury these hatchets and really put forth a concerted effort towards being like, you know what, being smart and going to school is actually fine and okay, and you should do it, and we're not going to talk about like spraying text anymore outside of songs or whatever. What do you think?
It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable, and it's always going to exist. The failure here is that even when it comes to elders, when it comes to people who you figure would be more experienced and smarter, they're not even putting the fire out. You know, somebody who puts the fire out is somebody like somebody who I give credit to. This is what should be done. Slim Thug, for example. Slim Thug is someone who, you know, when the Troy Ave shit happened, Slim Thug, you know, he records in his car every now and then. If you remember who Slim Thug is.
I don't remember what songs he did.
He did a song with Jay-Z. I ain't heard of that. What was his big single? Let me see.
Slim Thug.
He's like fucking 6'7".
All I'm thinking of, like, was he on the Beyonce check up on it?
I believe he was. He was.
Wow, that is so obscure. But that wasn't his song. He had a song.
Yeah. He's had a few. I remember one with a really where he was like, "I'm a boss," and no, it's not the Rick Ross song either. But anyway, Slim Thug is somebody who he's addressed these kind of issues. When Troy Ave did what he did, Slim Thug had a video where he was like, "Young niggas, get out the dumb shit, man. Stop doing this. Like, stop thinking that you know that pulling out your gun emotionally is gonna get you somewhere in life. It's not gonna get you anything. You know what I'm saying? And I think that 50 understands that because 50's shown support for Troy Ave, because I think Troy Ave got shot recently. 50's shown support for him, but it's like 50 treats this like, okay, this is serious and this isn't serious. Young people they can't make that distinction. They don't make that distinction. I'm not saying that they're stupid. I'm just saying they're less likely to make that distinction when they see people who they admire. When they see somebody, if they admire Soulja Boy, if they admire Chris Brown, and they see them yammering at each other back and forth, they're not going to be like, this is entertainment. I really like this. You know, this is like watching TV.
Yeah, he separates it.
They don't separate it. It's all goes into the same pot. There are some out there that are, you know, they have more perspective. You know, maybe there's better parenting in the home. You know, shit like that. I get that. But it's like you're not giving them you're not giving them a chance. You're not giving them a chance. You're just being ignorant. And somebody like Slim Thug is at least telling you, it's like, stop being fucking retarded. I'm not saying that everybody has to.
Who's listening to him, though? Slim Thug is
no one's listening to him, and that's, you know, and that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. I mean, nobody listens to David Banner.
You're right.
But David Banner is a person who's been, you know, he's been waving this flag forever.
Wait till you see my dick.
No, that was Yang.
Killer Mike is somebody who would probably comment. See, this is too. Killer Mike is an intellectual.
Killer Mike was just, yeah.
Killer Mike is an intellectual. This is too. He would be scaling himself down. This is something that you know is a part of the Killer Mike software. You know this already. This isn't something that Killer Mike has to address. He's ascended past this point, and he's talking about political issues. He's telling colored people to take their money out of banks. You know, that support causes. Excuse me?
Yeah, he's going hard with that shit.
Yeah. He's evolved past this. So I wouldn't expect him to talk about this. Plus, this is a stupid little Twitter war. But it's like you have to start at the beginning. You have to start at the genesis of these little things. You may look at an altercation between these two as being feeble-minded and it's stupid and it shouldn't be taken seriously, but it's damaging. And it's just one little seed, one of the very many that blossom into just the overall ignorance of everything.
It's I feel like this.
I feel like you didn't like my whole little seed and my little blossoming thing. You didn't like it.
I wasn't listening to you. I just listened to myself. I just wait till so I can talk like right now. It feels like a cancer. These things that are plaguing us. It feels like at the root of it, it's the same shit that has black men in prison. The same shit that makes it so like inner city schools are shit. The same thing. Like I was listening to dude, you had me on this Malcolm Gladwell revisionist history shit, and I am really listening to a lot of that stuff. I love that show. So there was this episode where he was talking about this kid from like this Latino kid from this shit
right from East LA, I think, or Compton.
Yeah, little Carlos is and and he was getting bused to like a good school because like this rich Jewish lawyer basically has this initiative where he takes kids from poor schools who are smart and tries really hard to get them to go to college and shit. But it's like your family, your neighborhood, it just gets its claws in you, and you're just being dragged down. That shit broke my heart listening to that. And honestly, that's how I feel about a lot of this stuff. It's like, even if all these rappers decided to make positive messages, it's like, yo, dude, like these kids, like, they still have to live in their shitty environments, have their parents who are just not around, or just a bad influence on them, or their friends are a shitty influence. Same thing as like Scared Straight. Like, they go to these prisons and stuff, and I always think to myself, like, okay, sure, they're getting spat on, and these dudes are telling them that, like, if they go to jail, they're gonna get raped and all that stuff. That would work for a normal person who wouldn't, like. But these kids, I feel like 90% of them, it's like the fact that they're there already, like, they're going there. Because it's like, you leave that jail. I sincerely believe a lot of these kids who go to Scared Straight and shit, I think that they get the message. And when they're there, when they leave, I think they know that they don't want to go there anymore. But then it's like, you still have all your friends are fucking hood rat idiots. All of them. And they're all listening to the Soulja Boy thing and beefing with each other. And even if you try and go to school, they're going to call you white and fucking like try and beat your ass and like fuck your girl and all that shit to try and pull you back in. So what I'm saying is, like, it's like this deep cancer that's just like, it's multifaceted. And even if you try and burst one of the tumors, which in this case is entertainment and the input being horrible on the entertainment side, you still have these toxic environments that breed this in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what made the environment that caused Soulja Boy to think that it's okay to behave this way?
I think it's just drugs right now. I think drugs is probably the main reason why he's acting the way he's acting. I mean, he apologized to Lil Yachty a few months ago because he wasn't getting his drugs. He literally said, dude,
Tylenol.
that has to be what it is. Yeah, he literally said, dude, I haven't had, I don't know if it was lean or I don't think it was weed. He was like, I just haven't been taking as much of it as
Sir, I have not sipped a cup of the lane in wakes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Soulja Boy, dude.
I just want to comment on something that you said, just so I can make myself clear. First of all, I'm not saying the music. I'm not commenting on the music. I'm not saying let's make the music wholesome. I've never been a believer of, well, the music is toxic, so that's negative and that's bad for the. It's art. It's art. It's always going to be art. It's always going to be. If you want to interpret it that way, that's how you interpret it. Of course, what's being said is negative. When I listen to an album like The Lox, We Are the Streets, do I think that anything positive is being said? No, absolutely fucking not. It's all negative and it's all tough guy talk, but it's art. It's not to be perceived. I'm not thinking for a second that a kid that listens to, I don't know, a kid who listens to who's very violent. Who could I say is violent right now? Is OG Macko violent? No, I don't think he is. He's just fucking stupid.
Chief Keef is violent.
Yeah, if a kid listens to Chief Keef, I don't think that's damaging. Not, and if it is, it's like the degree of it's just not that high as a candid human conversation between two people saying, "I'll fuck you up, I'll slap the shit out of you." There's intent. There's the intent. Chief Keef isn't looking to kill anybody when he makes those records, you know. But the intent, like you said before, but the intent of sending somebody a tweet or somebody a video message like, "Nigga, I knock you out, nigga. You knocked out Rihanna, nigga. I'll fuck you up, nigga. I do this. I do." It's like, what's happening? What's happening? Like, do you? And it's so, and it's and the other thing that bothers me a lot too, it's just like, you know that you have so much to lose and you would never risk all this. You're feeding too many people, so what you're doing is even more fucked up because you are more likely to influence a kid who really has nothing. And you're really going to tell them it's okay to throw your life away on these stupid little principles that you made up in your infantile little mind. Soulja Boy isn't going to throw anything away.
You might as well be talking about the music, by the way. I know you said that it's different, but it's... you're still saying that they have that level of influence, that supernatural level of influence, and it's all kind of tied in. It's like what you do.
But you can't tell
outside
people what to make songs about. You can't.
I'm not saying that, but like,
You can select what you choose to listen to.
what I'm saying is like, I think we're coming into a total package society. Listen to me, D-Respect. Listen. What's happening now is when I draw something, it's not just the drawing. It's you knowing that you watch my vlogs, you read my stupid tweets, you chat to me on the live draws. That's all packaged in to what you give someone, right? Someone watches my videos, they also think about the podcast. It's all tied in. So I think it's like you're almost on all the time. It's like you don't really get to be separate from your brand anymore. The music and your Snapchat and your Vine and your Twitter is all mixed in together. It's like, so in some ways, it's like it all is kind of the art now. You can't really separate it and say like the music is the entertainment, and then when they're talking to you or having fights, like Chris Brown beating Rihanna is part of his music now. Do you agree?
It's all a part of it. It's all a part of it to the mind of somebody who can't discern the difference. We know there's a difference. Look, we can even argue that, I mean, more to your point, is that we're old enough to remember being adults, living and breathing every day without internet.
I wasn't an
even
adult
though
without
you're,
an internet.
well, look, I mean, you're what? You're 4 years younger than me. How much younger than me? How old are you?
I'm 28. I'm 29. I turned. No, wait, I'm 20. Wait, how old am I?
What the fuck? And you're listening to this guy? Anyone who's listening to this guy right now, just fucking
No, listen.
mute
Help
his
me,
voice
dude.
out. Just listen.
Help me. I was okay. I'm getting a calculator out right now, live on the show.
Fucking serious,
Dude, listen. I forgot, dude. Hang on. It's 2017, right? Subtract that from my birth year.
Oh God, stop.
I'm
this.
29. Dude, do I turn 30 in? No way, dude. I think I'm 28. All right, I know this sounds like a
High
joke.
right now.
No, I'm not. I sincerely thought I was 28. Dude, no.
Anyway.
I think I'm 28.
Anyway, okay. So you're 5 years younger than me, whatever the fuck you are. Okay.
How old I
You
am,
can
dude.
remember. Maybe not in your adult years, but you remember in your teenage years, in and out, day in, day out. You remember a time where you did not have. And let's be perfectly clear here. Let's be clear that there's a big difference between net zero, dial-up internet days,
Yeah.
than having it on your phone now.
100
In your
fucking
so
percent,
when you
yes.
were 22
Yes.
years old, you didn't have internet in your hand. Everything changed to a different level once it was in your hand. Once you owned
Yes.
it
Okay.
and put it in your
Okay.
pocket. I don't give a fuck about I had Napster. That stuff doesn't count. It's different.
It was on a terminal. You went to your computer and you accessed that stuff from a terminal.
Exactly. So since we're old enough to remember a time without
Yes.
it, we can see the difference. I don't see Soulja Boy arguing with somebody as this is his, this is exactly like the music. I can distance those two things. Now, to your point, absolutely. Maybe somebody who is 18 years old cannot make that distinction. It just isn't. Obviously, this is a very complex issue that we're discussing here, and we're both fucking stupid. So we can only delve but so deep, and maybe this extends itself to like neurology and about brain patterns and whatever the fuck. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying words that I think apply, but you understand what I mean. There's got to be something there other than the fact of I'm 18 and I don't remember a time when there was an internet, so I can't tell a difference. There has to be something said about brain activity. There's something there when they hear a Soulja Boy song and they see Soulja Boy. It's no different. I remember getting albums and getting books and smelling the books and
Yes.
and I had to record you know, and I had to record on tapes, and it's different. You understood that music was something that was separate from things.
Because we didn't even have a lot of access, dude. I
No.
mean, like, a little bit, but it would just be something like Eminem would be on MTV doing his fucking corny shit, you know? Like putting on the Superman outfit and acting crazy, but like that was yes, it was part of the music, but it's still, you just didn't have that. It wasn't as direct. It was on a show that you by the way, you couldn't watch it on demand on fucking YouTube whenever the fuck you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I think YouTube was one of the biggest like, okay, that was like internet 2.0 for me. It's like before YouTube, it was like GeoCities and just shitty websites people would make. And if you wanted to know something about Goku or whatever, like or Cowboy Bebop, right, you would just go on Google. But when you search Cowboy Bebop, Wikipedia wasn't the first thing that would come up. It would just be some shitty GeoCities site that someone made. So like if you wanted to find a video, you had to find someone who was like willing to put that shit up on a shitty little MP4 or whatever, embedded in the site. The point I'm trying to make is like when YouTube and Wiki came out, that was when you could have stuff was like on demand, and then I think that's when shit really started becoming like we had more of a closer interaction maybe with the stuff that we were consuming. Not that we weren't close to it when there were CDs and shit, but it did feel more separate.
Yeah, absolutely.
It did feel like you're somehow activating things and deactivating them, and I mean, just the fact that it's like
there was an end to it. There was an end.
I remember having a CD player.
Your battery would die out on your Walkman. That would happen.
Exactly.
You know, and now with your phone, obviously that can happen too. But it's a lot more difficult. I mean, there are ports that have now been created as just fucking what would you call that? These things that have they made it out to DC yet? By the way.
No, but we have Wi-Fi that's being built into the metro now.
You guys are so behind. So these ports out here that Dom and I were discussing the last time he came here. I was telling him that these things were just popping out of nowhere. So
you're freaking out.
Yeah, no, it's really freaky because it really is, because I've never seen these things installed, and like 6 months ago they just started popping up out of nowhere as if somebody just thought them into existence, and they did just literally install them. So. There are these things that are, they're help. What's a good way to sort of encapsulate what they are?
They're like pods. They're like phone booth size pods that have a bunch of USB and like free internet in them, free Wi-Fi, and I only saw bums using them. Ew, I'm not touching that. It's that bum semen. I love.
They're all over Manhattan now. They're all over this. So of course your phone can die out, but now there's so much life support for it. It's almost like it's kept. It's supposed to be kept
you're
alive.
Saying, what are we getting at? What we're getting at is Future Talk here.
Oh
they
yeah.
Want you tapped in all the
Keep
fucking
it
time.
alive. Breathe air into it constantly.
Dude, breathe in there. Air what? This is some singularity shit. I'm telling you, it's happening. It's what are we breathing life into? What are we creating? We're creating a new type of human, a new type of community where we do not disengage. This, by the way, is why it's important to like have real connections with your friends. With people, yes. Go out and turn your fucking phone off. And I know it's hard because I have trouble with it. Okay, I turn my phone off to try and work lately, and it helps. But I'm still listening to podcasts and stuff. But I'm not reaching out. Okay, and turn off your phone. Don't check your phone when you're hanging out with your friends, man. Just fucking live with them. Just exist. Go to the movie theater and don't go on your fucking phone. That's the only time, dude. That's honestly the only time when you're remotely forced to not look at your phone. And people still fucking do it because they're fucking sheep and they can't break away from it. They sit there fucking on. Look. I know that I'm really annoyed by that.
Yeah, I was really angry there.
Dude, it's 2 hours. Like, please, please. Dude.
This happened to you recently at the movie theater.
Every time I go to the movie.
Every time. Really?
Every time.
Doesn't happen to me all the time. A lot of the times, I've been, like I said, I've been going on matinees, so not as many people in the theater.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, can I just have one? I know we were having future talk, but can I just complain about one thing at the movie theater? So recently, when I went to see that shitty movie that I told you guys about last week, The Collateral Beauty. Tell the truth. So there's about maybe 6 to 7 people in the theater, and as we all know now, when you get stuff online, for the most part, you would be selecting your seat.
Yeah.
Now, select seating is made only for the event of a crowded theater. When you have 6 or 7 people, if you fucking look for your you're a fucking square.
I would do.
Oh, of course you would. Let me tell you something. I know, and I was waiting for you to say because I knew you would. I
ordered the seat. It's my seat. That's where I want to sit.
You're
okay?
such a fucking square. Listen,
it's my seat. I paid $13 for my seat.
Listen. Okay, so I'm. So you know, I'm sitting where I'm sitting, and I didn't fucking sit where I said. I picked somewhere in the middle of the theater. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm sitting here, and there's like fucking, I don't know, like 3 people. 10 rows behind me and 2 people, you know, that nobody's near anyone. So there's this couple that comes in, this older couple, and they're like looking at the seats. I don't know if I was sitting on the seat that they, you know, one of the seats that they had picked, but what they decided to do was get 2 rows ahead of me. So karma sort of bit them in the ass, right? Because I think that's what they were doing. They were looking at They were looking at my chair and probably saying, "Oh, that black guy. Well, we're not going to tell them to move." You know, they were like maybe like 50-something white people.
Yeah.
So I had my hat on. They're probably terrified of me. So they sat 2 rows ahead of me, and then 10 minutes later, this guy comes. He's looking at the seat numbers, and he sits 2 seats away from them. Like, right, dude, he has so much real estate. He could sit all the way on the opposite end of my row, the row behind me, and he'd still be right in the thick of everything. Like, everybody's got beautiful seats.
Yeah.
And he sits next to them, and I kind of see, like, the husband look over at him like,
he's I believe.
Yeah, you sound like Mickey Mouse. What was that?
I don't know.
So he's looking at them, and he's like, "Oh, huh? Yeah, what the fuck did the husband say?" He said, "Oh, you're mighty close," and he started like laughing, and the guy was like, "Yeah, this is my seat," and you know, and they said something that kind of suggested, "But you can move away from us," and he just stayed right there. So he's you.
Yeah, he's me, dude. I ain't getting punked out by some fucking old motherfucker.
But he could have had so many good seats.
What if he wanted to have some human closeness? Okay.
This comes right back to it because he checks his phone too often.
Oh, he did?
No. Oh God, you see, you've ruined the moment.
I got mad just now, dude. Yeah, but you just want to. You just want to be.
That.
No, you just
Blogger Chan is summoned like the Green Ranger's robot. That's the only answer. Only. Just like the Green Ranger, he summons his little dragon sword out of the water. That's why I summoned Blogger Chan to hate on you. But go ahead.
Oh Jesus. You know, we haven't heard from Candy Bar Kid in a while.
Because he's not. Stop. Yeah. This 2017.
You're right. Yeah, Candy Bar Kid. He's not really a thing, but I think he'll come back someday. You know what I'm saying?
You know what he's gonna come back as a grown man. You know what he's gonna sound like?
I know.
Yeah, he's gonna sound exactly like Flat Ass Guy.
I wonder if you know what? Maybe the guy sitting in front of you was Flat Ass Guy, and that's why he didn't want the guy to sit next to him. Because he's like, "You're sitting mighty close to me, my wife. Why don't you just scoot on back a few rows?"
Well, this is my seat here. My seat is 12B, so I'm supposed to be right next to you.
No, but my wife and I,
your wife. What?
We like to have our own seats.
And why does your wife need her own seat, sir?
Because my wife.
Because your wife what?
My wife's got a flat ass, and she needs her own seat.
That's unfortunate.
She needs a special seat. She needs a flat ass seat. It's a special seat with a lot of cushioning to it. She needs a special seat for her flat ass.
But okay.
So if you could just go beat it. Just go.
I'll move.
Just let me be alone with my wife. Let me be alone with my wife, okay? Thanks. Awful, dude.
It's me and my flat ass. I am his
She has a flat ass
wife.
too, and she wants to contribute.
What was that?
Nah, go, please. Enough. What was I gonna say? I'm strongly advocating for less technology in some ways. Although technology is my bread and butter, and I need it very much in my life, it can go very bad, and it can cloud your mind. And this is something I read the other day from a sleep
Snapple?
A sleep doctor, and he was on some Reddit forum, and he said something I thought was really poignant. What he said was like, he's like, you need to have time in your life when you're not tapped in. Time in your life when you're doing stuff like meditating, and this is like consistent. Be consistent with it. Meditating, not talking to people, reading, spending time alone with your own thoughts. Go on walks consistently. Do something that is for you and does not include the internet or brain activity. Because the way our brains work right now is like, wake up, check my phone, go back to sleep, wake up, check my phone again, talk to my friend, text my friend, go through the internet. Yeah. When you're at work, people are on the internet the whole time. You're always tapped in. So he's like, why the fuck would you think that you could just come home if you're just tapped in all fucking day, and you think you can just lay in bed and immediately, boom, just turn off. Just turn off, go to sleep, get 8 hours.
Yeah, of course you would. That would be attributed to sleep issues.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, your mind is constantly stimulated. And how does your mind know to react to your sleepiness, to you being tired, when you're not giving it any stimulation? You're getting it used to always being stimulated.
Yeah.
So it's like, how does your mind know, oh, it's time for us to turn off? Well, dude, it'd be great if you fucking taught me anything other than being fucking stimulated. How about, yeah, exactly. How about you run with me? How about you fucking meditate with me? How about you fucking grab some pussies with me or something? Yeah,
because you know
I
what
totally
happens
agree.
Because you know what happens when your brain is usually off, and you fucking know that I'm right. I'm talking about the moment when you're at the bar by yourself, either waiting for your friend or you're by yourself, whatever. You're at a party and you don't know anybody yet.
Dom's by himself all the time.
That urge you have, it's like, get the phone.
Yeah.
Look, grab the phone. That is what you're fighting against constantly.
Consumption.
And every time you get on your phone, you're feeding it. You're giving into it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying this as some guy on a fucking top of an ivory tower pointing down at you, because I feel it all the time, and that's why I can talk to you about it. But I think we need to pull away from that, and that's something I think is going to, like, over the next few decades, I think it's going to become more and more of an issue for people, man. So all this shit about, like I think it also will probably lead to anxiety, depression, and all that shit when just not having time in your head and not being comfortable with being in your head. Not being comfortable with silences, too, that's another thing. You know, like, it's okay to just fucking, like, when you're talking to someone, you don't have to fill every fucking moment with a sound. Like, you might get lucky and talk to someone where it's like it flows very well, but like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Because I think it trickles into conversations where we have a need. You know what I mean? It's like this buzzing, and it doesn't have to be that way.
That goes into the stimulation aspect, right? There's a lot can be said with silence, and that's fine, because when you're hanging out with somebody you enjoy their company, you don't always need to say something. You can just sit around and just be, but that's the problem. But the problem is it's like, no, something is wrong if you're not feeding something into someone. Or if something isn't being fed into your brain, you feel like there's a loss of something here. And that's impossible. That's exhausting to keep that sort of momentum up. I mean,
and this is an issue. There's a cost and a reaction for everything that we produce in this world. And I think this is a byproduct of the internet, like mental health issues, like anxiety, looking into other people's lives constantly to the point where you don't even fucking know what your own life is. You don't know what your shit is because you're just looking at everyone else's stuff all day. It's like if you're an artist and you just spend all day looking at everyone else's drawings, you're not going to get shit done. And when you sit down there at the blank canvas, you're only going to be thinking about everyone else's shit. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's like you can consume. Of course, you're supposed to consume, but like there is this margin where like it can go too far, and it happens to a lot of people. I think
you can at your very best you'll end up being Logic. Somebody who clearly consumes a shit out of everything, but he still produces. But you can clearly hear in what he does that he's heavily influenced by what he consumes. I don't know I don't know where that falls into the conversation. I just thought of Logic when you told me just like consuming other people's shit, but still at the same time still producing.
I don't know what the right range is. I think Noah Bradley is an artist, this concept artist I used to follow a lot, and he had this idea like consume, create, recharge. So it's like if you watch a movie, he's like for every movie you watch, spend 10 minutes writing, drawing, making something, right? Okay. Then recharge. The recharge moment is when you do nothing. You do what it is you need to do to get yourself to point zero. You go on the walk. You sit by yourself for 15 minutes. You go cook some food. You go. No. You do something that's therapeutic and
give it a take. Okay.
Yeah, but like I think the recharge moment is, I think it's when you're not putting anything in and you're not putting anything out. You're existing. Mm-hmm. I think those moments of existence are few and far between right now, and I think it's going to become like a precious mineral as time goes on. Which is why vinyl is becoming popular again. Which is why people are going back to flip phones. It's happening.
People are going back to flip phones?
Yes.
Really?
And you're going to see it happen.
I haven't seen one person with a flip phone.
It's happening. It's a small contingent, but it's you're going to see it more and more.
So people are going back to flip phones because they don't want to check text messages obsessively. They don't want to be on Instagram. Really?
Right.
Well,
right. And it's valid. It's honestly valid.
Well, what I simply do in a moment like that is I just delete Instagram for a few days.
Oh wow, that's oof.
Yeah, I delete it from not my account. I delete the app.
I know, but that's I'm saying oof because I'm not even at that level.
You can do it. Well, here's the thing. I don't really use Instagram I can't delete Snapchat. That would be more difficult for me because I communicate through Snapchat a lot with this, but through Instagram it's just like it's whatever for me. I never fucking use Instagram. I mean, I probably should, but I just don't. Instagram is a source of a lot of procrastination. It's probably out of all these apps, it's probably the most damaging one because you can you can sit on your couch and you'll just, like, and by the time you know it, you didn't even notice that there were 45 minutes that went by. Which is not to say because at the same time, and this is where you and I break ways. This is where we break. In an obsession and in a grinding of the mind and just banging your head up against the wall when you're trying to do something, spending 45 minutes forcing yourself to do that is just as damaging as spending 45 minutes wasting your time. A balance between the two would be best, which is probably where the what was that you just suggested, the recharge,
consume, create, recharge.
Yeah. Which I think they can be just as damaging, just on different sides of the spectrum. But obviously, let's not consider everything. We're speaking about this, but yeah, by the time you know it, it's 45 minutes that you're just like doing nothing.
I think what it is I mean I know we do disagree on that, and I have been trying to give myself more time to just enjoy my life a little more and all that stuff. And it's been helping me with like mental health and all that stuff. But I think what we are also talking about is self-awareness and honesty with yourself. You have to be honest about your work level. I tend to work myself over. I think I tend to overwork myself. I tend to I tend to show up and put something out. Like that's my tendency. So I'm going to lean more heavily in that direction. So I can cheat a little bit and give myself time. And although I'm always guilty, I feel like I'm going to be okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know me. Like, that's if I say to myself, okay, I'm going to chill out and just watch a movie or two today, then I'm going to bounce back and make something. Now, if you're a lazy piece of shit and you know that, you don't get to say that to yourself. You don't get to say, I'm going to chill out and do that, because you're just going to sit there all day and do nothing. And then tomorrow you're going to do nothing as well. So you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, obviously
you got to be honest, though. You have to. Like, it has to be.
Well, honest. Look, I always say that the honesty does speak to your emotional level as well, because what you tend to center everything around is upon the result of the work, and that's not what I'm discussing. I'm discussing your emotion towards it and how you feel when you feel that you should drag yourself up from the dead and spend 45 minutes banging yourself up against the fucking table. That's where I mean, that's where my interpretation of honesty with yourself means. Like, is this what? And I think at one point you sort of understood that if you were honest with yourself, you were dragging yourself out of hell too much.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
And I had to change it,
and that's where the honesty comes in. So it's like I'm not so much as talking about the result of the creation of stuff. I just mean your process into getting there and how you feel about the process of when you're getting there.
Man, all I'm gonna say is, like, this shit is not easy. I mean, if we're talking about creative stuff, but I wonder, like, we're content creators. We make shit, and I wonder what if it's. Like, I think a lot of people who listen to us are aspiring to make things, artists, creatives, musicians.
I don't think it's that many.
Okay,
I don't think it's that
maybe
many. I don't think it's made up of that.
So I think, but I think this is still relevant. If you don't make anything, it is still relevant, and there are definitely benefits to, like, unplugging, because. It's gonna get weirder, man. Your phone is gonna become more and more of a companion, and it's going to beg you, and it won't even have to beg. You're gonna want to be on your phone so much more often.
But that's already happened, though.
I know.
It's already happened. Your phone just begging you to always speak to it or always use it. It's already happened already. It's like an avatar. It's like we've already intertwined hair with the horse. Like we're already there already. So, and I would say that I am probably the least. And I mean, obviously, I know this being the reason why. The reason why is when you feed the machine, you are less likely to be controlled by it. So if you don't really feed the machine with anything productive, if all you do is just consume off the machine and consume it, then you are more likely to be at a restaurant, to be at a bar, and always look at your phone when you're around others, because there is a need that we have to give into. There is a responsibility that we have to it, and no one can deny that. Some of us are less likely to engage, and they look at it like it's something evil. But I think when you look at the technology as something evil, you're selling yourself short. You're really selling yourself short. Like anybody that you'll have a comment, and I know maybe like one or two people that I've engaged with them about anything social media related, and they talk about it. And this is again a full extremity, just as damaging. Is a person who looks at social media as just this complete and utter vapid existence, and it's like you're running upstream right now and you don't realize it. You're building up so much resistance. That when it becomes clear in 10 years, when it's something that no one can avoid, when we're in a fucking Black Mirror episode, you are going to be so mentally inequipped to survive in this world. Because you look at it like it's this big evil thing. You can't look at it like it's an evil thing, and you can't look at it like it's the second coming of God, or the first coming, whatever the fuck way you want to look at it. But that's what I mean. But equally damaging on each. And I know people in my personal life that's like that. It's like, no, I don't share anything on social media. I don't do anything. It's stupid. I like to really connect in real life. All right, that's fine. I get that. And just because I'm on social media doesn't mean that I don't know how to connect either, dude. There's a balance to everything. You know, just because I want to earn money for myself doesn't make me a capitalist douchebag. You know what I'm saying? There's a balance to everything. You know, every millionaire isn't an asshole just because he's a millionaire. Just like every poor person isn't a virtuous person just because they're poor. There's a balance to everything.